Hello everyone, this is Akash Chauhan, and in today's lecture we will discuss about the array of objects. So we are already aware about the data type arrays, okay, like integer array, float array, okay. For example, uh, we have studied about the integer array. So in this example, integer a10, it means we have 10 elements of integer type in this array, okay. So if I talk about the indexing, so the very first element would store at A0 and the last element would store at A9, not at A10. So this is not actually the array of object. This is simple array. Okay, this is the primary data type, integer, float or something like that. So this is not a array of object. This is simple, the integer array. Okay. So what we are trying to understand, like what is the structure of the array in the memory as well as in the general terms we use. Okay, so that we can derive what could be the array of object eventually. So let's discuss about the memory aspect of when this array will be stored in the memory, how it would look like. Okay, so the indexing of this array would be from 0 to 9, not 0 to 10. Otherwise, it would be counted as a 11 elements. In case of memory, if it's an integer, we as we know that integer takes 4 bytes in 32-bit systems. Okay, and the A0 will store the first element, and the first element is 1. So let's say we are storing 1 to 10 numbers in this array. Okay, so A0 will store 1 and A9 will store the 10 value, 10 integer value. And as we know, as it is an integer, this one element is an integer, or all the element would be the same type or the integer type, then how much memory this array would take in the memory, the whole array. So the answer is 40 bytes. Why? Because we have 10 elements and each element is of 4 bytes. That is a 4 byte element. Okay, so we can say that A10 would take 40 bytes in the memory, and not just 40 bytes, but all those memory chunks would be contiguous. Okay, they should be in a sequence in the memory. That is the property of being a array. Okay, so this is the basic structure of the array. So if I want to write what we have just discussed, so I would say, so this array, the A10 of integer type, would take 40 bytes contiguous memory will be allocated for A10. Okay, so the another thing is how much memory the array will acquire. It totally dependent on the type of data array is storing. So in this case, it is storing only 4 bytes. So it is taking 40 bytes because it is also storing 10 elements. So it depends on two aspects. The first one, the type of data. In this case, we have integer. It can be character or float or anything else, and also dependent on the number of elements you are going to store in the array. According to these two parameters, the memory will be allocated to the array. So we can discuss in detail about the integer and the character array. Okay, so let's say we have an integer of 10 elements. It means it is taking 40 bytes. Why it is taking 40 bytes? Because integer is 4 bytes and we have 10 elements. So the memory it will take place is the 40 bytes. In case of character of 10 elements, 10 number of elements are 10 and one character equal to 1 byte. It means 1 cross 10. It will take 10 bytes in the memory. So this is about the primary data types. But we are not interested in the primary data type in today's lecture. In today's lecture, we are interested in array of objects. So we are somehow we will be creating the array of objects. Instead of array of integer or character, we will be creating array of objects. So where this object comes from? Okay, the object is the instance of a class. So there would be a class. Okay, and if there is a class, so that we can create an object out of that, and the array of the object would be something like the number of object it can store in the array. Okay, so what I'll do, let me take a simple example of a class. Let's say we make it a class of students. Okay, And in student class, we have name and the marks as a data members of the class. Okay, so this is a simple class in which we have two variables. So we can create an object out of this class, and if we can store this object in a array, not just one object, what if we can store 10 such objects in an array? Then that array would be called a array of objects. Okay, so let me take an example of an object. So object would be the class object. Let's say we have taken a student class. As I just discussed, we have taken two variables. The first one is the name. It would be string type. Marks would be integer type. So we can say we have a student class. Okay, okay. So this array A10 would be of student type. It means it can store 10 such instances. So this is actually a class, but it is saying that this array can store 10 such instances of this type of class. It means it can store 10 objects. Okay, so how the objects will be stored in the memory? As it is an array, it means the contiguous memory will be allocated for the objects as well, right? It is not a very separate thing that for the integer it would behave differently, for the objects it would behave differently. Okay, so let me draw a diagram to illustrate how the objects will be stored in the memory. So it is same as, let's say, if our object, one object will the one object is taking 4 bytes in the memory, and we have 10 such bytes, 10 such elements. So how much memory this will take in the memory? 4 cross 10. It is same as the integer, but this is not always that the object would take 4 bytes. It is different for each and every object. It depends on how much data it is containing inside the class. So let's say 0 element would store the first object, and A9 would store the 10th object of this class. Okay, the student class. And each object is taking 4 bytes, and each object, each and every object has these name and marks variable. So it would be different, but the type of variable would be same in the each and every object. This is different actually, and it would be of integer type. So so what we can say out of that, that this student A10 is the array of objects. Okay, why we are saying? Because this array is of 10 elements and storing 10 student type objects. So guys, this is what we have just discussed as theory, but it would be great if we can implement what we have just discussed in this lecture. So let me come to the practical part of what we have just discussed. So what I'll do, I will write a class name student. In that I will mention this name and marks over there. Okay, so let me write. So guys, this is the student class. Okay, what we have just discussed. In that we have name and the marks. Okay, and in the public area we can define our functions. Okay, so let's discuss these functions one by one. So get name is related to name, get marks is related to marks, and display information is the student name and marks will be printed at the console. Okay, so the get name would be taking the scene. See, what is the use of scene? Scene will ask the user through the console that input something, and it will take that input and store by using these extraction operator. It will store that data in name, and same for the marks. It will take the input from the console or by the user and store that data into the marks. Okay, and if we call the display information for that object, these information will be shown. Okay, so this is actually our student class. So it will not get called, these function will not get called by themselves. So what I'll do, so these function will not be called by themselves. So what I'll do, I'll create a main method, sorry, and I will call these methods individually from there. So we are interested in creating array of objects. So what I'll do, I will not create just one object. I will create array of objects. So let me create three array size. It means the student array, but of three elements. So how I can populate, or how can I get call these functions? If I can use a loop from 0 to 2, okay, and for each indexing 0, 1 and 2, I can call these methods. Okay, if I call get name, so it will take input from the console and store it in name, and eventually if I call this method, the console will print these values. Okay, so let me write. So guys, this is the main method. So forget about this line. This is actually to clear your screen. We I have created student array. St is the array name, and we are using only three elements in the array. So this array would store only three elements of student object type. Okay, so let me traverse through the loop. So what I am doing, this is saying student, it is actually start from 0, that's why I'm adding 1. So it will say this is the student 1. For the next iteration it will become 2. So the first iteration, it will ask enter the name, and to call this function, what I'll do, this is the st0. For 0 index element, it would be st0 and dot get name. So it will call this, and it will ask from the console that take some input from the user and store that value into the name. Okay, same for this get marks. Okay, enter the marks, and then it will ask through the console from the user to enter something. And what I am doing, and then this will it will keep going for all 0 1 2 three iterations, 0 1 and 2. Okay, and then it will come to this loop, and this loop is what it will do, it will also run for 0 1 2. Okay, and 0 st0 would call display information, and it will call the st1 and st2. So these are the different objects. Okay, arrays. So these are the different objects, and why these are the different objects, because st3 is a three size or three element student type array. So st2 would be the third object. Okay, and the third object would be calling display information. So this function will be called for each and every object for the st array, because it is running for 0 1 and 2 iteration. So what I'll do, let me execute this code and enter these values, and we will see what will be the output. So let me build and run this code. Okay, so it is asking enter the first name, enter the name, let's say 20. The second name, I'm typing any random names, and 30. So if I enter over here, it will the second loop we are using, it is display information for each and every object. So it will print all these values. Student first is Akash, and 20 is the marks, student 2, and all. So guys, this is how we can handle the array of objects. So instead of storing integer, float, or character, what we are doing, we are storing our objects. So objects of what? The customized objects. So we are not dependent on the compiler or the language. We can customize, we can create our own objects, own classes. So if we can create our own classes, we can create our own objects, and we can work through them. So this is the one of the major advantages of using C++, that you can customize your own objects. You can write anything you want which is meaningful, definitely. And this is how we can operate with the array of objects. So guys, in today's lecture we have covered the array of objects. Thank you so much for today's lecture.